We are standing right on the edge of a massive shift. I'm talking about the rise of truly autonomous AI in our workplaces. So today, we're going to break down a really interesting new framework that's all about keeping that incredible power in check.
Okay, think about this for a second. It's a question we all need to start asking, and soon. Because as AI gets smarter, more autonomous, the real problem isn't what it can do anymore. The real problem is who or what is actually in charge. Who's in control?
All right, so let's set the stage. I want to be super clear. We are not talking about the simple chatbots you might be used to. No, we're talking about a completely new kind of employee entering the workforce.
And yeah, you're seeing that date right, 2026. That's not a typo. We are talking about the very, very near future. This whole transition from AI being just a tool that you command to it becoming an autonomous digital worker that handles its own tasks, it is happening way faster than most of us realize. And just get a load of the kind of power we're planning to give these things. This goes way beyond just suggesting a reply to an email. We're talking about AI agents planning entire projects on their own, calling internal APIs, moving sensitive data around, and yeah, even executing financial transactions. I mean, these are literally the keys to the kingdom. So, of course, when you hand over the keys to the kingdom like that, there's a huge potential for things to go sideways, right? This brand new level of autonomy, it creates what the source material for this explainer calls a governance crisis.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Our old security models, they're just not built for this. See, traditional security was designed for predictable software and, relatively predictable human actions. It kind of assumes that if an account is inside the company firewall, it's probably safe. But an AI agent, it makes its own decisions on the fly, dynamically. You have to start from a place of zero trust right from the get-go.
And let's be really clear about what's at stake here, because the risks are huge. A simple misconfiguration or a clever prompt injection, that's basically where a bad actor tricks the AI into doing something malicious, while the result could be a complete disaster. We're talking about wiping out a database, committing financial fraud at machine speed, or leaking a company's most guarded secrets. Okay, so that's the scary part. This is the solution. The Guardian Agent Framework. It was designed from the ground up to solve this exact problem. It's a totally new kind of security architecture, built for this new era of autonomous AI.
So what is it exactly? Well, think about it like this. You can't have a human watching every single move an AI makes. It's all happening way too fast. So the only logical solution is to have another specialized AI do the watching. You need machine speed oversight for machine speed actions.
And this is absolutely the key idea. This isn't about damage control or cleaning up a mess after something goes wrong. The entire point of the framework is to be proactive. It's all about checking and validating what an agent wants to do before it ever gets the chance to actually do it.
Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in practice? Well, the whole thing is built on three main pillars.
And these three things really have to work together to be effective. So, number one, you have a dedicated agent whose only job is to oversee everything in real time. Number two, you have a special kind of firewall that validates the intent of every action. And number three, you have a system to limit the AI's power, giving it only what it needs for a specific task and only when it needs it.
So let's talk about that first piece, the Guardian Agent. A great way to think about it is like that boss we mentioned at the very beginning. It's a specialized AI that's basically an independent safety officer. Its job isn't to do any actual business work. Its one and only purpose is to watch the other AI agents and make sure they're playing by the rules 24/7. Okay, this next idea, the semantic firewall, is just brilliant. A normal firewall basically just asks, is this network connection allowed? Yes or no. But a semantic firewall asks a much smarter question. It asks, wait a minute, does it actually make sense for the marketing AI to be trying to pull data from the HR payroll system? See, it understands the meaning, the intent behind a request, not just the technical detail.
And that brings us to the third pillar, just-in-time, or JIT permissions. This is so simple, yet so powerful. Instead of giving an AI agent a permanent key to the customer database, you give it a key that only works for the 30 seconds it needs to do one specific job. After that, the key expires. This massively shrinks what's called the blast radius. So if an agent ever does get compromised, the amount of damage it can do is incredibly small.
Now, obviously, those three main pillars need a solid foundation to work properly, and that includes a few other critical pieces. like making sure every single AI agent has its own unique, verifiable identity, and keeping logs of every single action that are impossible to tamper with, so you always have a record. And, of course, you've always got to have a clear and simple way to get a human involved for the really big, high-risk decisions.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it becomes pretty clear that this isn't just about a new security tool. This is all pointing to a fundamental shift in how we even need to think about building and using AI.
You know, the source material has this quote that just perfectly sums up the whole challenge. Intelligence is no longer the bottleneck. Control is. Think about that. For years, the big race was all about making AI smarter and more powerful. Well, you could argue that race is basically over. The new frontier, the real challenge now, is figuring out how we can safely control all that intelligence. And that's really the bottom line. Building a secure AI future means we have to focus less on all the amazing things AI can do and focus a whole lot more on how we can safely manage what it does. The success of this whole next wave of technology isn't going to be about raw power. It's going to be about our ability to build smart, effective guardrails around it.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. These digital workers, they're coming. That's a certainty. And just like any human employee, they're going to need management, oversight, and leadership. So the real question isn't if they're going to show up to work one day. The question is, are we going to be ready to lead them when they do?